me. How about you?
No, you're on, girl.
Hey, I'm Ann, and I'm here at the Woodlands Yoga Studio with our owner, Sue Brooks. And I'm going to present some yoga to you today, but I'm going to turn over the floor to her first, and she has a couple of things that she would like to tell everybody. Did you want to do it at the beginning?
Yeah, I'll do it at the end too. But thank you for joining us. All these videos that we do streaming live are saved on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel, the Woodlands Yoga Studio. All those classes are free. And if you appreciate us, you can go to our website, www.thewoodlandsyogastudio.com, and donate whatever little amount of money. We have utilities and rent and instructor fees to cover, and if you want to help support us, we would greatly be full of gratitude and appreciation. So.
All right, well, I'm glad you guys are here today, and I'm going to be teaching a basics class. And so I know that some of my students are sitting at home watching this right now thinking, oh, Lord, how is she going to explain this? And I'm going to try. Okay.
Thank God you and I have known each other a long time.
We've known each other a long time. But here, to me, basics are, I mean, there are, how many poses are there? How many yoga poses are there?
Oh, I'd say maybe 100 basic poses.
100 basic poses, and that's all I do. I always say this, I don't do stuff where people are hanging off the ceilings. We have teachers here that can do that, and they're marvelous, but I don't do that. I keep my things very basic. Basic does not mean easy. It just means ground level, basic, the stuff that everybody needs to know, the poses that everybody needs to know how to do yoga. That's what I teach. Now, I'm going to try to pack a lot in here because I want y'all to have a lot of stuff to be able to do. But keep in mind, everything that we're going to do is a basics pose, okay? And so I expect the world of you only. So if I could, I'm going to get Sue to sit on one block underneath her butt, facing them, Sue, please.
I was on two, so I'll come down.
And the other one is going to be in front of you underneath your foot. Okay? And I'm going to turn around to the side. And so I want the outside of her foot is going to hang off the block, and only her heel is going to be on the block. And actually, there's a local teacher in town. I want to give credit where credit's due. A guy named Robert Bustani. He is amazing, and this is one of his poses. And I'm hoping I'm doing it exactly the right way. Okay, so anyway, but I want to tell you where I got this and give credit to him. So anyway, it's a forward bend is what it's going to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Sue started. I'm going to get you started. Okay, and so what I want you to do is bend forward, and then kind of creep your hands around to the right. So your left leg's in front of you, your right leg's out straight. And then come back around to the center. And then with your breath, walk back around, same side. And she's going to keep going front to side. And what I would like to think that as her back loosens up, it's really a forward bend. She kind of turns it into a twist as she gets around to the side. Okay? But I would want her last one, let's say we're going to do 4 or 5 of these, I want the last one to be better than the first one. I want you to notice that your back is unwound a little bit, okay? And so Sue's just going to do that till she's done probably about 4 or 5 now, and then come back to the center and reach way out at the front of the mat, okay? And then she is going to change sides here. She's going to change feet, and while she's doing that, and when she gets around to the other side, she's just going to start doing what she was doing. But I wanted to show you something a little bit different over here where I am, just another way to sit on a block. But meanwhile, you can do what Sue's doing. And this is something that I do. This is the way I sit on blocks in classes. So I'm turned to the side here, and I put the very edge of my sit bones on the block, okay? And then I can sit in Sukhasana or whatever, and I flip the block up, and it catches on the mat here, but this end of the block is up in the air. And what that does, when I sit on the block, my back has a tendency to be a little bit straighter. If I can tip that block like that, I get a real nice low back curve. We're going to do some stuff later on where this might come into play for you. So I just wanted to show you, this is an option this is a real easy thing for you to practice when you're sitting there watching TV, which it appears to me that everybody's doing a lot. So practice sitting on a block like that. Now I'm gonna get out of the way, and then I'm gonna have Sue come back to the center and take the block out from under her bottom, okay, but keep the block under her feet, okay? And she's gonna put her feet in Baddha Konasana on the block, okay? And then reach back behind herself and pull the flesh of her buttocks back. She wants to be, like I was showing you, trying to sit as much as she can on her sits bone, on the front of her legs. And then she's just gonna kinda do a little bit of cat-cow stuff. And just all we're trying to do here is loosen up that spine. One more with your breath. And then you're going to release that, and we're going to be ditching the block for a while, blocks. Okay, lie down on your back, and we're going to come into Happy Baby. So in Happy Baby, okay, and what I want, Sue, try to, all right, duck your chin for them first and show, all right, so this is what a duck chin looks like, okay? What I want her to try to do is slide the top of the back of her head along the mat, and she's going to lengthen her neck. Okay, so her chin's going to come out of there, okay? Yeah, and she's going to try to make the back of her neck as long as she can and press the back of her neck into the mat. So that's how I want your neck to be, okay? And then her ankles are over her knees, and she's going to use the strength of her arms to pull her shoulder blades down on the floor. Don't worry so much about what your legs are doing. Your legs are going to go with you. Okay, worry about your arms. Try to breathe those shoulders down, and that's going to breathe the thighs down. And then she's going to try to tilt her pelvis towards the wall in front of her butt. Okay, she's going to tilt it forward. Her low back will come off the floor a little bit. Okay, and so this, people think, oh, Happy Baby, resting pose, so easy. It's not always. Okay, Happy Baby can be a real strong working pose, and she's grounding herself into the earth, grounding her shoulders, grounding her hips, tilting her pelvis forward, her low back lifts up a little bit. And now she's going to slide her hands on the inside of her feet, okay? And then very slowly, she's going to start to push through her heels, okay? And push her heels. Her legs are going to begin to straighten as she pulls her toes back, catty corner. Okay, so stop there, Sue. So her knees are still bent here. She's straightening her legs. A lot of people are going to stay right here, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, okay, with your knees being bent, because not all of us have nice, long, open hamstrings. So if this is where you get to, you be okay with that, and that's fine. If you can take it a little bit further, and Sue can, she's going to start pushing through her heels. Yeah, good. And so I just want you to know, and I'm making up these numbers, I'll just tell you that, in any given class of 14, 15 people, maybe 3 will be able to get their legs open like that. Most people cannot, and so it really is totally okay. You just get where you can get. Keep tilting the pelvis forward. Yeah, and the low back comes off the floor. Still a lot of work going on in the shoulders and all that kind of good stuff. And then she's going to release the legs and bring her knees into her armpits. So she's going to hug her knees to her chest. Okay, but yeah, let go of your feet, Sue, and just hug. Yeah, there you go. Hug those knees in.
Oh,
good.
There.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right, and then she's going to wrap the right leg around the left leg. Okay, so eagle legs. Arms on the floor in cactus, and she's going to stay very grounded in her upper body, and she's going to take her legs over either which way. Doesn't make any difference. And don't go all the way. You got to push that opposite shoulder blade down, okay? The shoulder blade that she's rolling away from, and then she's going to take a big breath as she comes back through the center and exhales it to the other side. And same things. Obviously, a lot of muscle energy going on in your belly and in your upper back. Okay, and do that 2 or 3 times to each side, Sue. And obviously, here's another thing. A lot of people would be able to go ahead and let their legs flop all the way over to the side. This is one of these poses right there. Just because you can do that doesn't mean you need to. I want you to work on your core strength, and you can only do that by holding your legs in the air. All right, so 2 or 3 breaths doing that one. And then come back to a neutral spine position. Undo your legs, arms over the head, legs out in front of you, nice and straight, and a great big stretch. Take a big inhale and a big exhale. And then you're going to go ahead and roll over, and you're going to come into crouching dog. And a crouching dog is going to be with where your feet can be on the floor. Okay, this crouching dog is, okay? So, yeah, you're going to walk a little bit farther forward, Sue. Yeah, to where your heels can be on the floor. There you go. Yeah, and crouch as low as you can. So really get into those knees. Yeah, and the feet are wide apart. And so from here, press your hands into the earth, roll your upper arms out, broaden your back, and then slowly start to straighten your legs. And then so you can see what she's doing on the back of her knees. You can see how that's stretching. And so she bends and she straightens, and that feels really, really good on your calves. So you want your feet far enough back. Everybody's different here. You want your feet far enough back to where you can get the maximum stretch, but your heels can be on the floor. And then going to walk your feet back into your regular downward facing dog. Hug your belly deeply into your low back, okay? Hug your chin into your chest, so kind of come in a cat back, okay? And then from this cat back, you're going to come forward into plank pose with the cat, holding on to the cat, yeah. And then keeping the cat, you're going to push your hips back into dog. And you're going to do that a couple of times. Now really get going with your breath here. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. And then you're going to look up at your hands, and you're going to lower your forearms to the mat with your elbows right behind your wrist, okay? And if you absolutely need to here, you can clasp your hands together, yeah, in the center, like headstand arms, okay? It's up to you, all right? And then from here, lengthen the back of your neck, okay? Reach the top of the back of your head towards your hands. So in other words, you're trying to put as much space between the top of the back of your head and your tailbone, okay? Good. Now, if you might stay here, for God's sake, don't come down. It's too early to be tired, okay? But if you can walk forward a little bit, do so, okay? If not, just stay where you were and just be okay hanging out here in this dolphin. Really good for your shoulders. Take an inhale and take your chest towards your knees. Breathe your chest towards your knees. And then go ahead and release your hands, place them, press yourself up into downward facing dog. And then go ahead and walk to the top of your mat and inhale into half Uttanasana and exhale into full Uttanasana. And then do that again. And exhale. Now, what I want you to notice here on the next one, okay, this is a pose that a lot of people do with their head, okay? You're not supposed to do it with your head. What you're supposed to do it with is your body. So what I want you to notice is what Sue's torso is doing as she breathes like this. So inhale, her torso moves, and exhale, her torso moves toward her thighs. It may not be a whole lot. Everybody's different. It doesn't make any difference, but the point is, use your whole body to do this pose. And then the next time your chest is down, like now, go ahead and bend your knees deeply, clasp behind your knees, okay, and hug as deeply as you can. And then from here, slowly start to straighten your legs. Now, they might not straighten all the way. Hers are going to. But if yours don't, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you keep your chest on your thighs, okay? And then from here, release your arms, let them hang. And then just roll up one vertebra at a time all the way to the top of your spine and reaching for the sky. And Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra. And then inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, you're gonna take your arms into cactus pose, squeezing the shoulder blades on the back. Now this is gonna be a thing about connecting our breath to our movement here. So you're gonna take a big inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and take your arms back just a touch, just a bit of a back bend. Take another breath, inhale, and exhale maybe into a little bit more of a back bend. I want you to do this with your breath. Inhale again, exhale back a little bit more, and everybody's going to hit a place where they go, okay, I'm done, and that's fine. Stay there. Stay there, wherever that is for you. Hug your belly deeply into your spine now, and think of coming up to perfectly straight. Good, hug your belly in, reaching your hands for the sky, and then Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra. And then we're going to do that again. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale the arms into cactus. And we're going to do this 2 or 3 times. A big breath and a back bend. And a big breath and a back bend. Everybody on their own. Really take great big deep, deep breaths. And then inhale straight up. Hug the belly into the spine. And exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching for the sky. And exhale, lowering the hands to the earth and stepping back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank. And then you're going to lower both knees to the earth, coming to all fours. Okay? So Sue, bring your knees a little bit farther forward. Yeah, okay, there you go. All right, shoulders stay right over the wrist here. And now we're going to do a little bit of thread the needle with the right hand staying on the, oh wait, I'm sorry. Your left hand is going to stay on the floor first. Left hand is going to stay on the floor first. Right arm is going to go into the air. And what I want you to notice here, wait a minute, go back up, Sue, for just a second. What I want you to notice is where her right shoulder blade is in relation to her left shoulder blade, okay? She's not warmed up at all. I doubt if any of y'all are, okay? So this is okay for right now, but we want it to be better. And I want you to know, I'm going to show you what better is going to be. Now take the arm underneath and thread the needle. Go ahead and then use your breath here. On an inhale, come out. Take that arm up again and pause here. Look down at the floor and look up at your top arm. And then on an exhale, take it underneath. And then do it again. And one last time. All right, and now while she's down here, she's going to take her left leg in the air right behind her. Right behind her hip, and the toes are, it's going to be in the air, and the toes are going to face down, okay? And now the toes are going to turn out towards the camera. Good. And then she's going to bring the toes around as if she's going to touch her elbow with that toe. Yeah. And then take it back, and then bring it again, and take it back, and now turn the toes towards the earth, and lower the knee. Bring the right arm out, reach for the sky one last time. Good. And then lower the hand. And you are going to...
take care of the knees.
Take care of the knees. All right. All right. And so now she's going to push back into downward facing dog. And the right leg is going to go into the air. And you're going to bring it forward into a lunge, a right leg lunge, okay? And place the hands on the knee. Both of the hands on the front knee. And this is now Sue, luckily, has very good knees, okay? And so she can step into this pose, and she's pretty steady right from the beginning, okay? But I like to put the hands on the knee because that helps everybody to set up and get solid in this pose. And breathing, settling down into the earth, I want you to notice that her right knee is directly over her right ankle and her left heel of the foot is over the ball of the foot. Okay, so the back of her foot is flat. Okay, so this is a perfect lunge. And so now inhale and reach for the sky. And exhale, bring the arms down in cactus, just like you did before. Good, squeezing the shoulder blades on the back. Okay, squeeze. And then start to take it back, bit of a back bend. This is not necessarily easy, but it is a basic pose, okay? Good. And now keeping the shoulder blades together and the arms where they are, she's going to bow forward. Good, hugging the belly deeply into the spine, and then inhale and reach the arms towards the wall in front of her, straightening, and on her exhale, her left fingers will come to the floor and her right fingers to the sky. And so now I want you to look at her right shoulder blade stacked right on top of her left. In a perfect world, when we all do thread the needle, this is what our backs would look like, okay? She's capable of doing, we're all capable of doing it pretty much, we're all pretty much capable of doing it like this. What we're not capable of is in thread the needle. This is what we're working towards in thread the needle. Just wanted you to see that. And now reach for the front with the top arm and then roll on over and step back into three-legged dog and then downward facing dog. And then inhale forward into plank pose and exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank and drop both of the knees to the earth, coming to all fours. So now you'll stay on your right arm, is my perception, okay? And the left arm will go in the air. And she's trying to stack her left shoulder blade on top of the right. Very difficult to do, even though there's really not a lot different about her body. But man, does this lock up your neck when we can't open this up like this. All right, and then thread the needle, take it under, and then use your breath here. Come out, great big breath, and under again. And then one more time out and pause and breathe and really try to push that top shoulder blade back. Good. And then take it underneath. And then she's going to lift her right leg, okay, in the air straight behind her, toes pointing towards the earth. All right. And then, okay, so there's a lot of muscle energy going on here. The inside of that right thigh is rolling up to the sky, so this leg is strong. She's locking her hips in. She's having to work with her belly too. This is not easy to do, okay? But it's basic. Turn your toes towards the puja table and then bring that leg around in the air. Act like you're going to touch and then take it back. Balance can be an issue here, I grant you. And now take the leg around one more time. And many people roll out of this pose when they're doing this, and the world doesn't end. Okay, turn the toes towards the earth. Good, and lower the knee. And bring that arm out one last time, reaching for the sky. And then exhale to all fours. Tuck your toes, push back into downward facing dog. And now your, I'm lost. You
Lunge.
I know
Lunge
that.
on this side.
Which leg?
The left.
The left leg. Okay. That, I knew that. Okay, left leg in the air. And bring it forward into the lunge. And place the hands on the knee. And all of my students are sitting there watching this at home going, yep, there she goes. The right, the left thing gets her every time. Yeah, good. So breathe and settle yourself into this lunge. And then on an inhale, reaching for the sky and very mindfully draw your arms down into cactus, squeezing those shoulder blades together like mad on your back. Take an inhale, and bow forward, hugging your belly into your spine. And then on an inhale, release and reach. And on an exhale, right fingers to the floor, left fingers to the sky, stacking that shoulder blade. Good. And now this feels really good. And she can look down at the floor. And then she can look up at her arm. And her neck is completely free. And her shoulders are holding everything together. So it's really a feeling of ease in this pose. And then reaching for the wall in front, lowering the hand and step back, three-legged dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank. And exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Okay, this is one of my favorite poses. Okay, right leg in the air. Draw the knee into the chest, pause, okay, and now you're going to wrap the right leg around the left, eagle leg. And the left toes are going to turn out towards the camera. You're going to stand on the sole of the left foot, left toes out, standing on the sole of the foot, and press both hands into the earth and squeeze your shoulder blades on your back so your hips are lifted in the air. Stay in dog. You want to roll forward into plank, don't let it happen. Press those hands into the floor, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. And now you can stay here, or you can reach that left arm in the air and come up into kind of a modified Vashisthasana. Good. Try to straighten the back leg as much as possible. There you go. And push the hips up. Yeah. Good. And then all you're going to do is reach your arm back to the floor and replace it. Good. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Push back into one more little downward facing dog here. Good. And then undo. And downward facing dog. Inhaling forward into plank. And exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Jumper step to the top of your mat. Inhale into Ardha Uttanasana and exhale into full Uttanasana. And then do it again. Use your breath. And then inhaling all the way up, reaching for the sky. And Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Place your hands on the earth and step back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take your left leg in the air. Draw the knee into the chest, okay? And you're going to wrap the leg around an eagle, turn the right toes out, and stand on the foot, and then straighten that back leg. So say, yeah, there you go. Push the hips up in the air and just push your hands into the earth. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And so there's so much muscle action going on here in your upper body. You're holding yourself up, okay? And so then if you want to, if you can, reach the right arm in the air. Now you can really see the shoulder blade stack situation here. Again, the right one's on top of the left. Can you go ahead and look down at the floor, Sue? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then she can look up at her hand. So again, her neck is free. Yeah, and then put the hand down and stay there. Go ahead and just push the hips back in the air. Yeah, so there's a lot of strength. And then just kind of undo. The right heel will come into the air, and then the left leg in the air, and then downward facing dog. And inhale forward into plank pose. And exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Once again, jumper step to the top of your mat, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, full breath to thighs. Full breath, chest to thighs. And then do it again. Inhale and exhale. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra. Okay, so guys, and I want to just mention at this point, this is, to me, a real big deal. It's something that I learned a little bit later when I first started doing yoga, which was back at the turn of the century, about, not a whole lot was said about the breath, okay? And the breath is a thing that's come about in more recent years, relatively. I mean, we were always supposed to breathe, but didn't talk about it much, okay? And now, I'm going to promise you will find the better breath you have, the more you connect your breath to your poses. All these yoga teachers standing up here telling you to breathe, they mean it. And the better you breathe, the better your practice is going to be. Okay, so there was your break, okay, whether you knew it or not. All right, so inhale, reaching for the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana, big breath. Place your hands on the mat and step back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank, and exhale, take it back into downward facing dog. Take the right leg in the air, draw the knee into the chest, and come forward into three-legged plank. Keep the knee up there, okay? Now hug it in, hug it in, hug it in. Yeah, so this is just doing a little bit of core work here, and I want to point out, this is a real basic pose, okay? Might not be that easy to stay here for a long time, but it's super basic, okay? And so now, because I really don't have too much else to say here, we're going to set the right shin on the earth, turn the back foot down, and reach for the sky with the left arm. Good, and then reach forward with the left arm. And now you're going to tip up, and the left leg is going to come in the air behind you. Yeah, good. Now stretch. Use this time to really, really stretch. And then you're going to bring the left toes around as if you're going to touch your nose. Good, so the hip's going to stay. Notice how high she's keeping her leg. This is a real good thing. Don't let it drop. And then take it back behind you. Take the top arm in the air again. Bend the knee behind you. Bend the knee. Bring your foot to your butt. Now, you may stay here. This is a perfectly good place to stay. If you can, reach back and grab that ankle. Go ahead and do so, and now you can just blast open into a great big back bend. Should be kind of warmed up now. Yeah, and breathe and open the chest and squeeze the shoulder blades on the floor. You're going to go right back where you came from. Arm in the air, leg in the air. Beautiful. Yes. Breathe here. And on your next exhale, come back to all fours. Take an inhale.
Hang on. Okay.
And then push back into downward facing dog. And inhale forward into plank pose. And exhale, take it back into downward facing dog. So I'm going to leave Sue in dog for a minute and make another little thought that she's given me here. Okay. using props like that. Have your props handy when you come into a practice, like she did, right by the side of the mat. And then once she saw where I was going, it's like, oh, I need a prop. Now, she didn't need to stop, come down, drink a glass of water and all that kind of stuff. She just reached over, got the prop, put it down, and back we go. Try to make that as seamless as possible. Have moving your props in and out of your poses just be part of the practice also. Thank you, Sue. Inhale forward into plank. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog, left leg in the air. Draw the knee into the chest. Come forward into three-legged plank and just pause. And this pose is so strong. Squeezing the shoulder blades, okay? So move forward a little bit more. Shoulder, there you go. And hug that knee in and hug it in and hug it in. This is work, okay? Good. And then set the shin down. Turn the back foot down. Stand on the sole of the foot, reaching for the sky with the right arm. And then when you're ready, you can lift the leg in the air and pause here. Now squeeze the shoulder blades on the back. So you show them what that looks like. Yeah, squeezing that together. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Yeah, and now, so this is what gives her the strength in her upper body. That's where it is, right there between her arms, okay? And then bring the toes around like you're going to touch your nose. And then take the leg back. Good. And now you can bend the knee, bringing the foot to the butt. Feel free to stay here. This is just fine. If you can reach back, grab hold of the ankle and then just blow it open in a back bend if that's how you want to do. Yeah. And breathe. Keep squeezing the shoulders. Such a big deal. Good. And then go back where you came from. Arm in the air, leg in the air. Pause here and breathe. I really like to have people not blast through poses and blast out of poses. I always kind of have them come back to where they started. Yeah, and now melt down onto all fours. Tuck your toes and push back into downward facing dog. And exhale, come forward into plank pose. Exhale back into dog. And jump or step to the top of the mat any way that you'd like to get there. And chest to thighs. And then do it again. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, and Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra. And just pause here and breathe in your mountain pose. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades on the back. Keep your legs strong. Keep your thighs engaged. There's no reason just to stand on your legs here. Mountains are strong. Mountains aren't weak. Okay, so your legs are killer strong. In fact, lift your toes. Yeah, when you lift your toes and you feel your quadriceps engage, that is such a good thing. And they need to feel like that as often as you can make them do so. And then from here, inhaling, reaching for the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Place your hands on the earth and step back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Okay, so now I have to say it, okay? We're ready to start. Okay, the class is starting right now. She's warmed up. I hope you guys at home are warmed up. All right, so here we go. She's going to stick her right leg in the air, draw the knee into the chest, and I love to pause here, okay? And your thought, we're getting ready to do some standing poses, which I love, okay? And your thought should be right here. I have to get my foot right between my thumbs. I got to do that. Okay, so how am I going to do it? I want it to be as graceful as possible. I want to get it up there with as little movement as possible, but I also want to get it all the way up there no matter what happens. So right now, everybody step your right foot right between your thumbs. Good. And then you're going to turn this pose into Warrior 2. Okay. And what I want you to notice in this Warrior 2, because it's a really good one, the top of her head is over her neck, and her neck is over her spine. And if you dropped a rod through the top of her head, it would come straight out the floor of her pelvis. I mean, that's just really, really perfect alignment. A lot of times you look around in Warrior 2 and people are diving forward to the front of the room. There's no reason. It's so ugly. Did y'all see how ugly that was? This is Warrior 2. Now clasp your hands behind your back and just from the hips, bow forward into Humble Warrior. And breathe here. Squeezing the shoulder blade on the back. The back of the neck is long. She doesn't get to let her head drop here. Her head is in line with her spine. Take an inhale and reach forward. Exhale, lower the hands to the earth, and she's going to come seamlessly into Anjaneyasana. So that left knee is going to, so she wants to grab that blanket for this, I'm quite sure. Okay. And her hands come to her knees, her front knee. All right. And now she's going to bend her back knee and bring the foot into the buttock. Okay. Good. Now, you can stay here. That's just fine. Otherwise, you can go ahead and try to come as upright as possible. Take your arms up in cactus. And then draw the arms down the back. And if you can and if you want to, grab hold of that ankle. Okay? And then B and I, we're only doing this once on this side. This is our quad stretch, so it needs to be a marvelous one. So you can grab the ankle with both hands, one hand. You don't have to grab it at all. You can just be there with the foot at the buttock, but squeeze the shoulder blades on the back and go ahead and try to make this a bit of a back bend if you can. And then without letting the foot go, reach the without letting the foot go to the earth, release the arms, reach the hands to the sky, draw the arms down in cactus pose, and then keeping the shoulder blades on the back, start to bow forward from the belly, hug the belly in, hug it in, go low, and then on an exhale, lower the hands, tuck the back toes, right leg goes in the air, three-legged dog, and then downward facing dog. And inhale forward into plank pose. And exhale, take it back into downward facing dog. And breathe.
Trying to straighten my blanket out.
Little OCD going on there. No.
She knows that. Right, Ann?
Yeah, I do. I do. All right, left leg in the air. And step, knee to the chest. Knee to the chest. Pause here. Give this pose some thought. Really look at it. Think, how am I going to get that up there? And then you're going to, like a big cat, step it on up there. Yeah. And then come into warrior two from the other side. And think about in all your standing poses. I mean, I'm not just standing here talking because I have a ton of stuff to say. I do have a ton of stuff to say. Okay. But it's also because I want you to get your mind off the fact that I'm going to ask you to stay in these poses for a little bit longer than you might like. Again, it ain't easy. It's basic. It's just not necessarily easy, okay? Clasp your hands behind your back and bow. And breathe here and squeeze those shoulder blades together. Lift the head of the arm bones up. And please notice how her head stays in line with her spine. That is so critical, so good for your neck and all that good stuff. And then take an inhale and reaching forward. Good. And on an exhale, lower the hands. And you're going to come again into Anjaneyasana. Lower in that back knee. Hands to the front knee. And she pauses here. She gets everything all sorted out in her mind about how this is going to go. Okay. And then she slowly bends that back foot in towards the buttock and pauses here. Okay. This is a killer on your hamstring. Okay. It really is. And when you first start doing stuff like this, you can easily get cramps in the hamstring. The good news is nobody dies from that. Okay. So just go ahead and do it. Work through it. Suck it up. Gut it out. Okay. Wait, we're going to do our hands to the sky first.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then cactus arms and squeeze those shoulder blades because I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades all the time. Okay. Now, however it works out for you, grab the leg, don't grab the leg, stay how you are, whatever. And you're going to pause here. And then, so now she has that foot and now she's going to settle into this pose. And she's going to start to take the left knee even farther forward, maybe a little bit, at least in her mind. It's not going to go far, but she's going to kind of stretch that left knee forward, bringing that right foot in, killer stretch on that right quad, and so good for your knees. I just can't tell you how good it is for your knees. Okay, and now from here, keep squeezing the shoulder blades and take this into a bit of a back bend if you can. Again, we got to stay in this one a little longer because we're only doing it once. Okay, good. And now keep the foot where it is. Release the hands and reach to the sky. And draw them down in cactus, squeezing the shoulder blades. Take a big inhale and start to bow forward, coming out over the thigh. Release the hands and then step back, three-legged dog. And downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank pose. And exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. All right. And now we're going to take the right leg to the sky. Draw the knee into the chest. Same thing. Coming forward into Parsvakonasana. Get that foot up there. Turn the back foot down. And so the right elbow at the beginning can come to the right knee. That's fine. Top arm up and over. This is side angle pose. And so trying to put all the space you can between the left fingers and the back outside of the left foot. And I want you to think about that the left foot is standing as solidly on the earth as the right foot. Right foot's easy because your knee is packed on top of it. Back foot, you have to press it down. You have to really put some weight in that leg, okay? On an inhale, reach that bottom arm up and stretch it towards the front of the room. Good. Take an inhale and lower your torso towards your front leg just a little bit. No. Keep turning towards me. Yeah, just lower. Good. Take an inhale, straighten the front leg, and you're going to drop the right arm into triangle pose. So if you need a block, she could have reached out and grabbed the block there if she wanted it. Okay, she'll show you that anyway. Good. So in triangle pose, what I want you to notice, the big thing for me in triangle is that her top fingers are over her bottom fingers, okay? Which that means her right wrist is closer to her knee than it is her ankle or her foot. I want y'all to look at that. You can see it very plainly. Look how nice and straight that pose is, okay? Yeah, I love it. Good. And then reach the top arm towards the front of the room and reach the bottom arm towards the front of the room. And now bend into that knee again. So you're back in Parsvakonasana, excuse me. All right, and now you can drop your fingers either to the floor or the block, or you can put them back on your knee. But she is lower, okay, because she stretched out more. Good. And then one last time, lift that bottom arm. Turn your torso towards the earth. Pause here, breathe, hug your belly into your spine. Notice how strong she has stayed in that front leg through the whole thing. Okay, on your next exhale, lower your hands to the floor and step back, three-legged dog and downward dog. Using your breath just to connect yourself to all this. Left leg in the sky, knee to the chest and pause. Take a look and then get that foot up there. Parsvakonasana on the other side. Your weight is perfectly balanced between your feet. And so, yeah, this is a good thing to notice now that I kind of pointed it out to you on the other side. So she brings her elbow to her knee, and that's awesome. That's just fine. That's where she is right now on this pose. Once again, look at that shoulder blade, that right shoulder blade stacked right on top of that bottom shoulder blade. It's a beautiful, beautiful pose. And she doesn't want to do anything to dip her right arm or her chest forward. She wants to stay like this with that shoulder blade stacked as she takes the left arm in the air, in the sky. Yeah, and reaches. Yeah, and you got to use her belly, got to use her legs for this. A lot going on. Take an inhale, straighten the front leg. Good, and drop the left fingers somewhere down there, block, floor, whatever. Triangle pose. And now you can really see it. Look at how the top arm is stacked on top of the bottom. It's nice and straight. Good. Inhale. And on the exhale, lift the bottom arm. Reach. Good. And now she's going to bend deeply into the left knee. Yeah. Breathing, she's going to lower the underside of her torso towards that thigh. Yeah, just kind of come down, come down, come down. Good. And then drop the fingers to the floor or somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. And back into Parsvakonasana. Oh, wait a minute. You.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Everybody tries to get out of it. I'm used to it. And then lift the bottom arm into the center of the room again. Take an inhale and lower the torso toward the thigh. Good. And then turn the torso towards the earth. Lower the hands. And then three-legged dog. And then downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank. And exhale, take it back. Downward facing dog. And breathe here. All right. So from here, and I'm going to give Sue the clue here, she definitely is going to want her blanket for her knees. We're going to come into camel pose. Okay? So.
You want me on the side or you want me
Yeah, no, yeah, I want them to see you from the side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I want them to see the alignment of this. Yeah. So she's up so nice and straight. And again, I mean, think about me dropping a rod down through the top of her head, through her neck, through her spine, straight through her tailbone, or the floor of her pelvis, right between her knees. Okay, so she's nice and straight. All right. And now take the arms up into cactus and squeezing the shoulder blades on the back. And then we're going to do the same thing that we've already done a few times here. We're going to breathe and take it back. Breathe and take it back, okay? And what I want you to particularly notice here, notice how she is keeping her thighs and her pelvis and her belly moving forward, okay? She is not riding her butt back towards her feet, okay? This is what makes it, look at that. Yeah, this is what makes the back bend. All right, and then come back up to upright and pause here. Good. And then same thing, up on the knees, arms into cactus, okay? And same thing, take an inhale and exhale, start to take it back. Yeah, and now this time she's going to bring her hands to the small of her back. Yeah, and she's going to push her fist or her hands into the small of her back, the top of her hips. But again, notice how the bottom part of her body is going forward and the top part is going back, and that's what makes her back bend. It's gorgeous. Okay, now from here, inhale back up. So we most of the time do things in threes. Okay, we're going to do one more, and this time you're going to have the option of doing exactly what she just did. Okay, so come back up, take the arms up in cactus, squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back, start to breathe it back, into your back bend, and when you're ready, you can take your hands to the small of your back, or she can drop her hands to her ankles or her calves or whatever she's got going on, okay? And again, I just have to point this out one more time, okay? Look at the front part, the bottom part of her body. She didn't move it. That's the deal here. That's what makes this so awesome, and this is what allows you to totally open up your back, okay? And now push yourself back up to an upright position. Good, take your arms up over your head, reaching for the sky. Okay, and then you're going to bow forward, reaching towards the front of the room, taking your hips back to your feet. Good. And then hug your belly in and pause here as you lower your hands to the earth and just kind of let your back settle a little bit, okay? Not really a forward bend, just kind of taking that back bend out of it. All right, enough rest. All right, and then come up into downward facing dog. And Sue is going to step forward with her right foot. Okay, and then she's going to turn to face the camera. All right, and she's going to come into Prasarita or how do other people say that?
Prasarita Padottanasana.
Well, or some people say Prasarita or something like that.
Yeah, that's the wrong pronunciation. Norma would have a fit if she didn't say that.
All right, and here we're going to do kind of our last little thing of working on this stacking the shoulder blades thing. So she's going to bring either arm right underneath her nose, okay, and then take the other arm in the air. So she took her right arm down and her left arm's up, and so she is stacking that left shoulder blade right on top of the right. Good. And just trying to twist as much as she can. Her weight is evenly distributed between her 2 feet. Okay? Good. Take an inhale and change sides. And so by this time now, the shoulders are really, really warmed up, and so they love to stack like this. And again, you're doing this for your neck more than anything else. That's the good part, okay? And then come back down, both hands to the floor. All right, and now what she's going to do is she's going to take her, so Sue, which arm was just up in the air?
Right.
The right arm was just up in the air?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to then now you're going to take your right hand to your left ankle. Yeah, and now the left arm will come up in the air. Yeah, good. And then she's going to use the leverage of grabbing her left ankle with her right hand, okay? And yes, she can take her hand behind her back like that, anything she wants. Try to open up her chest, squeeze the shoulder blades on the back, okay? I mean, this is a deep twist. And then slowly unwind, come back to center, take a pause, take a breath. And so now she's going to do the second side. So she'll be taking her left hand over to her right ankle. Okay, right arm in the air, and what she's going to try to do is move that right shoulder blade back, get it over the left, okay, and then take the arm behind your back, whatever you want to do here, and twist. Yeah. So it's kind of a twist, can kind of be a back bend, whatever. The legs are so strong, drawing muscle energy up the inside of both legs into the core of the pelvis. Good. Everything is working here. Inhale and unwind slowly and come back to a place where you're just kind of resting a little bit. Okay. And take a breath. Okay. And now we are going to go into, I'm not going to say the name of the pose because some people will be at home judging me about it. Okay, so she's going to come up onto her hands, and she is going to turn her left toes out towards the front corner of her mat, and her right toes are going to come up in the sky.
Oh, little skandasana.
Well, that's what I call it, but I get some flack. Okay.
What?
All right.
No, it's modified. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not one that likes to go all the way down because it kind of aggravates my one knee. But no, it's skandasana.
So the point here is that her left toes are facing out. Her left kneecap is facing in the same direction as her toes. Her right toes are facing to the sky. Okay, and that's the big, not mistake, it's the thing that a lot of people's body does, that this is what you want to try to work on. Look down at your own right foot right now and notice if your right toes are turning in towards the front of the mat. That's what you don't want. You got to rock that thing back, try to make the toes come to the sky, and bend as deeply into the left knee as you can, and try to get the back of the right leg as close to the earth as you can. And then release your arms from the earth and reach into the center of the room.
Oh, you want it?
Yeah, from there. Yeah. Good. And then clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and bow. And then inhale, release the arms, reach the arms into the center of the room, place the hands on the floor, and then you're going to walk into the other side of this pose. So you'll bend into the right knee. Okay? And then the left leg goes straight. Again, right knee in line with right toes. Left toes to the sky. So it's a super strong pose here. Okay. And on an inhale, reach into the center of the room. Squeeze the shoulder blades on the back as you take your arms behind you and squeeze. Bow as deeply as you can. Beautiful. And then reach the arms forward. And on an exhale, lower the hands and step back. Sorry.
I can go there.
You can go there. And downward facing dog. Thank you. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to ask her to come to the floor, and we're going to do Upavishta Konasana. Okay? And so this is where I'm going to grab this.
You want me
Okay.
on the block?
I don't care. Like if you sit on a block, she can sit on a block flat, or she can sit on the floor. Okay? Either which way. And what I'm going to do is come down and show you this thing again, because to me this is the best pose to do this on. And rock this block forward. Okay? And it takes a little work on your part, but then from here we're going to bow forward. And I want you to look at how straight I'm able to keep my back because of sitting on the block this way. Now she's got a straighter back than me to begin with. Okay, so she's got the better low back curve. I have to work at having it. Okay, so I'm just giving you that option of sitting on the block. Okay, but the point is your back needs to stay straight in this pose. Okay, ideally you have a really, really nice low back curve going on behind you. And this is pose, it's so important that people realize this, to take the ego out of it. It doesn't matter how low you go, okay? It matters that your back stays straight. It matters that your hips and your hamstrings are doing the work, and your back is not doing any work. It's not involved here, okay? And also, I want you to notice, one last time, how she's keeping her head in line with her spine instead of drop your head, Sue. Yeah, this is so bad. Look how it rounds her upper back and all that awful stuff. She was trying to keep her shoulder blades on her back. She's trying to keep those shoulder blades straight across. Straight across. Good. And moving the top of the back of the head towards me. Yeah, good. And then on an inhale, walk yourself back up. And we're going to come into just an easy Gomukhasana without going through a lot of stuff, okay? Just take one leg over the other. And basically what's going to happen, it doesn't matter which knee you have on top, but I want you to notice how she has stacked her top knee directly on top of the bottom knee, okay? And her feet are so nicely engaged. These are real yoga feet, okay? Sitting up nice and tall, squeezing the shoulder blades on the back. Now this is a pose you can stay seated upright like this. If it feels good to you to bow forward, please feel free to do so. And breathe. And then on an inhale, come back up. And I'm going to ask her to twist towards her top leg, whichever leg that is for you. No. Yes. Yeah.
I thought you wanted me to break dance.
Oh, yeah. Later.
Later.
Good. Yeah, and so just make this a nice twist. And then come back to the center. All right, now you can break dance. Now she's going to switch sides. Okay. Yeah. And those of you who know me well, if somebody offered me $1 million, I could not do what she just did. There's no way I'd be able to figure that out. It's not my body, it's my brain. It just doesn't work that way. All right. So
and do I tell the story that we're both dancers?
Oh, no. but the same but different. So sit up nice and tall. And then once again, if you feel like it, you bow forward. Some people's body calls for a forward bend here, some does not. Okay? It's whatever you need. And the big breath as you come back up to upright, and that last twist out over the top leg. Yeah, just kind of make it be what you want. And then back to center, and I'm just going to ask her to come out of it any way she wants to. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Virasana for a moment, and we're going to use our blanket behind our knees. You can kind of use anything, okay? The swimming pool noodles are great for this. Yeah.
Do you want?
Yeah, I want you to face them because I'm going to ask you to roll across, and I want them to see that rolling across. So what you want to do is get the blanket as deeply behind your knees as you can. Okay. And then come on down to your knees. Yeah. Good. All right. And so for everybody, where this attacks your calves is a little bit different. But what I want her to do is roll from side to side. And all she's doing is just massaging those thighs. Her calves.
And you know what? I've been walking every day.
Well, then this is good for you.
Oh, yeah. I feel this.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, and then you're going to pause here and come up, and you're going to move the blanket back half an inch. I mean, it doesn't take much. And then you're going to come back down, and it's the same thing. You're just going to kind of attack it. And Sue hates it when I use words like attack when we're talking about yoga.
Right now,
you don't care.
My soleus is going, ah. Oh, because I've been just a demon walking these days.
All right, and so this really, really gets in and does those calves. So now you are welcome to stay like this, or you can take the blanket out from underneath you and come back in a real Virasana for one last time. Please feel free to put a block under your butt if that works for you. And we're just going to sit here for a moment in Virasana with our breath. Obviously, Supta Virasana would be an option here too for anybody who would like to do that. I just want you to be comfortable and I want you to breathe. So just notice here that her feet are outside of her hips and her knees are pretty much in line with her hip bones, okay? Don't want them splayed too far apart. And so now you're going to work your way back up to a seated position. And this is my favorite part. Just lean forward, place your hands on the floor wherever they are, tuck your toes and push back into downward facing dog. Your hands do not have to be on your mat, okay? Yeah, and just push the back of those legs open, let the blood flow down the back of your legs. Yeah, it feels really nice. Okay, last downward facing dog. All right, and then the last pose that we're going to do, we're going to take our blocks and put them together end to end, okay? And she's going to lay down with her feet facing either end of the mat, it doesn't matter, and lie down with her sacrum on on 2 blocks.
Oh, got it.
2 blocks end to end.
Supported bridge.
Yeah, there we go. And so a little bit further back towards your waist. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, and so you want your hips comfortably on those blocks, okay? Arms out to the side in cactus, okay? And then you're gonna press your feet into the earth, pick your hips up in the air, and shift them over to the left. Yeah, and then draw your knees up in the air together. Good, and you're gonna let your knees come over to the right, and they are only going to come about level with the blocks. At the most, okay? So just because your knees could go all the way to the floor in this, and a couple of people can, we don't want them to, okay? I want you to hold muscle energy into your belly. I want you to have muscle energy in your shoulders. Your shoulders are pressing you into the earth. They're holding you on the earth, okay? And your shoulders are so strong and your belly is so strong, it's gonna let your hips release. That's the story. And as you're here, maybe your legs will go down a little deeper, okay? Because at first your hips don't want to accept this. Your hips are like, I don't know about this, okay? Good. And on an inhale, come back to center. Now square yourself up. Get your hips square on the blocks. Put your feet down again. Yeah, all right. And then press your feet into the earth. And lift your hips, shift them to the right. And then you're going to draw your knees in the air and you're going to roll over to the left. And same thing. You don't want to go too far. Good. I don't know if you can see this, what I did, but she went 2 or 3 inches lower on this side than she did the other. This just goes to show you, this is one of these poses that show you the difference in the sides of your body. We are all vastly different in this. Everybody says, oh, I have a good side and a bad side. Not a good side and a bad side, it's a different side. They just do different things, okay? But now she's really settling deeply into the twist on this side, but her shoulders, her arms, she's stable, she's hugging the earth. And then slowly release, roll the knees back to the center, put the feet on the floor. Now square your hips up, so get all sorted out, okay? All right, and then go ahead and lift your hips, take the blocks out from underneath you, all right? And now you can draw your knees into your chest, give them a hug. Anything that might feel right to you here, okay? And then just one last little thing that I think we ought to do. Take your left leg straight up in the air. Take your right ankle over your left knee into figure 4. Good. And then push your right knee towards the wall behind your butt. Okay, now you have 3 options here. You can reach in and grab the back of your left hamstring, or you can bend your left knee and grab the front of your left shin. Okay, good. Or you can straighten your leg again, take your arms out from between and grab hold of your ankle. Above, yeah. So whatever of these 3 ways would create the situation where you get the best hip stretch on your right hip. That's what you're trying to do here. The hamstring stretch on your left leg is awfully nice also, but it's that right hip that we're trying to go after here. So however you get the best stretch is what I want you to do for yourself right now. Take one more big inhale and pull that left leg in towards you as strongly as you can. Just one last thing of stretching that right hip. And then on an exhale, you release and change sides. And breathe. I always tell people, you know I'm done with you here, okay? So go to your breath, because your breath needs to your breath needs to carry you into Shavasana, which you know is where we are heading. Okay. I'm standing here behind the camera. I'm reading a couple of comments that people have made about the relative basic level of this class. They're not very nice. So that's all I'm going to say. Okay. Once again, I'm misunderstood. All right. And then release. And you're going to take this into Shavasana. And I like to talk about breathing yourself into Shavasana, okay? I love the thought of that. Don't just plop down there and, go to Never Never Land and let go. Take big, nice, long, slow breaths. And settle yourself into the earth a piece at a time. A foot here, a calf, a hip, an arm, whatever, okay? Breathe yourself into it and try to hold on to that thought process as long as you can. When you can no longer think about your breathing, you're just so beat, you're so wiped out, let it go. And just as you've worked with everything you have during these practices, let go with everything you have into Shavasana. Enjoy. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to move around a little bit at a time. Smallest parts of your body first. Just invite awareness back in. Take your arms over your head. Begin to have a great big inhale and hold it for as long as you can as you stretch and reach, pressing through your feet, reaching through your fingers. And when you can't hold on to that breath anymore, let it go. And then you're going to draw everything in towards the center of your body, and you're going to roll over to a side. Keep breathing heavily, just trying to stay connected. For the last few moments, stay connected to your mat, stay connected to your practice, okay? You know you got to get up and go someplace, but, well, I don't know. Maybe we don't anymore. I used to say that, okay? But just, you can stay here for the last few moments, just breathing, wishing that you didn't have to get up. And then go ahead and roll towards the earth, press your hands, and push yourself up heavily and come around to a seated position as we began the class. So I want to thank you guys for joining us here today at the Woodland Yoga Studio. And I want to say that my take on a lot of stuff that I'm seeing going on around me, I think the biggest problem that we kind of all collectively have is that nobody really knows what's going to happen. It's the uncertainty of it. And I really do kind of believe that. I believe that nobody knows, okay? I wish there was somebody that I thought they knew and that they could do something about it, but I don't, okay? And so, but we're all in this together. We all are, okay? We really are. And we don't have control over much. We're seeing that every day, okay? How little we have control over, and a lot of people are scared and all that kind of stuff. One thing we do have control over, and thank God I was preaching this way before this thing ever happened, we have control over our self, our practice, coming to the mat, getting on it every day for however long, okay? Maybe it's only a little bit, I know some people that are doing 3 or 4 of these classes a day, and God love them. I think that's amazing. If that's what they need, that's what I want them to have, and I am so thankful that we are able to provide that for people who want it. But I encourage everybody just to get on your mat every day, do a little bit of yoga, do a little bit of breathing, just try to connect yourself, okay, to the solidity of your practice and what's inside of you, okay? And because that way we can all go forth a little bit stronger and kind of pass it around. That's what I'm hoping for my community, because I know my students, I know how strong they are, okay? And I know that they're all being there for a lot of people, and it's really important. So bless you all for being here with me and Sue today. From my heart to your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.